they're starting soon, or are we just
We're just
at it?
going right in. Waiting for
Alright,
the
we're
live picture to
just go.
show. We are spinning. We are live. Hey everyone, welcome back to Nothing Nerdy. I'm here with the inspector and Lucifer and MXC, and we're gonna be doing another read through of A New Hope. We're not continuing where we left off because it was just too messy.
Backwards.
It was just too messy. So we're going back to the beginning, like before we started the script read through. So like much earlier in the movie. We started last time, I think, when they were on the Death Star. So now we're going back.
On the Death Star, and Alderaan was being blown up.
Yeah.
Now we're starting at Tatooine with the Lars family buying the droids from the Jawas.
So, I could have sworn I got... Oh, here it is. I was like, I know I got myself a cup of water. Oh, Madigan, you gonna help
I will continue the unreliable narration.
Perfect. We would expect nothing
as
less.
we go through. One of my favorite literary tropes is the unreliable narrator, so I am honored to take that role.
Yes. We bestow it upon you.
So, roles. Yeah, who's what?
I will be reading the lines of Anne Beru and Princess Leia Organa of Alderaan. And eventually the role of Luke. But not initially. Initially that role will go to MXC here.
I'm going to be Owen and then eventually Obi-Wan. And I'll probably be some R2 beeps every once in a while.
Perfect. Lucifer will be narrating. And you're also Vader, right?
I don't think Vader's got a lot of lines in this section, but yes, I will attempt to do my breathing impaired deep voice.
Perfect.
Again.
Perfect. Alright, and MXC, you're Luke for now.
Yes.
Are you also... No, I'm 3PO, right?
I just can't do the whiny voice. I'm sorry.
Well, Luke is more whiny than 3PO.
I'm
so yeah, more like demanding than complaining.
I don't think you understand my problem. Like even in my head, when I say the 3PO lines, I can't do a 3PO voice.
Okay, all right. So then I will do 3PO.
That's how much I am not 3PO.
Okay, so I'm 3PO, Beru, and Leia. You are temporarily Luke, then Han, and if somebody random shows up.
We'll fill the roles over time.
Yeah.
We're definitely gonna have like Death Star officers or something.
All right. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1, action.
The setting is exterior Tatooine desert at the Lars homestead in the afternoon. The Jawas mutter gibberish as they busily line up their battered captives, including R2 and 3PO in all of his silver glory. Or is it golden glory with silver leg? In front of the enormous sand crawler, which is parked beside a small, itty-bitty little homestead consisting of 3 large holes in the ground, surrounded by several tall moisture evaporators and one small adobe blockhouse. The Jawas scurry around, furly, fussing over the robots, straightening them up or brushing some dust from a dented metallic elbow. The shrouded little creatures smell horribly, attracting small insects to the dark areas when their mouths and nostrils should be. Out of the shadows of a dingy side building limps Owen Lars, a large, burly man in his mid-50s. His reddish eyes are sunken in a dust-covered face. As the farmer carefully inspects each robot, he is closely followed by his slump-shouldered, slack-jawed nephew, Luke Skywalker. Yay! One of the vile little Jawas walks ahead of the farmer, spouting an animated sales pitch in a queer, unintelligible language. A voice calls out from one of the huge holes that form the homestead. Luke goes over to the edge and sees his Aunt Beru standing in the main courtyard.
Luke? Luke! Tell Owen that if he gets a translator to be sure it speaks Bocce.
It looks like we don't have much of a choice. I'll remind him.
Little
Luke
more
returns to his uncle as they look over the equipment for sale with the Jawa leader.
I have no need for a protocol droid.
Is this me? Sir,
3PO.
not in an environment such as this. That's why I've also been programmed for over 30 secondary functions that...
What I really need is a droid that understands the binary language of moisture evaporators.
Evaporators, sir. My first job was programming binary load lifter. Very similar to your evaporators. You could say...
Do you speak Bachi?
Of course I can, sir. It's like a second language for me. I'm as fluent in Bachi.
Oh, alright, shut up. I'll take this one.
Shutting up, sir.
Luke, take these two over to the garage, will you? I want you to have them both cleaned before dinner.
You're
Going into Tashi Station to pick up some power converters.
Some cheese with that wine.
You can waste time with your friends when your chores are done. Now go on, go get to it.
Alright, come on. And the red one, come on. Well, come on. Red, let's go.
As the Jawas start to lead the 3 remaining robots back into the Sandcrawler, R2 lets out a pathetic little beep and starts after his old friend 3PO. He is restrained by a slimy Jawa who zaps him with a control box. Bzz, bzz, bzz. Owen is negotiating with the head Jawa. Luke and the 2 robots start off for the garage when a plate pops off the head of the red Astro Droid's head plate and it sparks wildly.
Uncle Owen,
Yeah?
this R2's got a bad motivator. Look!
Hey, what are you trying to push on us?
The Jawa goes into a loud spiel. Blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, R2 has sneaked out of line and is moving up and down, trying to attract attention. Beep, 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 beep. He lets out a low whistle. And I'm not going to try. 3PO taps Luke on the shoulder.
Excuse me, sir, but that R2 unit is in prime condition. A real bargain.
Owen.
Yeah?
What about that one?
What about that blue one? We'll take that one.
With a little reluctance, the scruffy dwarf trades the damaged Astro Droid for R2.
Yeah, take it away. Piece of
I'm
shit.
quite sure you'll be very pleased with that one, sir. He really is in first-class condition. I've worked with him before.
Liar.
Here he comes.
Liar. Owen pays off the whining Jawa as Luke and the 2 robots trudge off toward a grimy homestead entry.
Okay, let's go.
Now, don't you forget this. Why I should stick my neck out for you is quite beyond my capacity.
Scene shift to the interior of the Lars homestead in the garage area in the late afternoon. The garage is cluttered and worn, but a friendly, peaceful atmosphere permeates the low gray chamber. 3PO lowers himself into a large tub filled with warm oil. Near the battered land speeder, little R2 rests on a large battery with a cord to his face.
Thank the maker. This oil bath is going to feel so good. I've got such a bad case of dust contamination I can barely move.
R2 beeps a muffled reply. Beep 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 beep. Luke seems to be lost in thought as he runs his hand over the damaged fin of a small 2-man Skyhopper spaceship resting in a low hangar off the garage. Finally, Luke's frustrations get the better of him and he slams a wrench across the workbench.
It just isn't fair. Oh, Biggs is right. I'm never getting out of here.
Is there anything I might do to help?
Luke glances at the battered robot. A bit of his anger drains and a tiny smile creeps across his face.
Well, not unless you can alter time, speed up the harvest, or teleport me off this rock.
I don't think so, sir. I'm only a droid and not very knowledgeable about such things. Not on this planet, anyways. As a matter of fact, I'm not even sure which planet I'm on.
Well, if there's a bright center to the universe, you're on the planet that is farthest from.
I see, sir.
You can call me Luke.
I see, Sir Luke.
Just Luke.
And I am C-3PO, Human-Cyborg Relations, and this is my counterpart, R2-D2.
Beep beep.
Hello.
R2 beeps in response. Beep beep. Luke unplugs R2 and begins to scrape several connectors on the robot's head with a chrome pick. 3PO climbs out of the oil tub and begins wiping oil from his bronze body. Too much? Too little? More?
Perfect.
that just sounds almost inappropriate.
Exactly. Welcome to the
Exactly what he was
inappropriate
going
reading
for.
of Star Wars: A New Hope.
You got a lot of Corbin score in here. It looks like he poisons the inside action.
That's what she said.
With all we've been through, sometimes I'm amazed we're in as good condition as we are. What with the rebellion and all.
You know the rebellion against the Empire?
That's how we came to be in your service, if you take my meaning, sir.
Have you been in many battles?
Several, I think. Actually, there's not much to tell. I'm not much more than an interpreter, and not very good at telling stories. Well, not at making them interesting, anyways.
Luke struggles to remove a small metal fragment from R2's neck joint. He uses a larger pick.
Well, my friend, you got something jammed in here real good. Were you on a cruiser or...
The
Yes.
fragment breaks loose with a snap. Pating! Sending Luke tumbling head over heels. He sits up and sees a 12-inch, three-dimensional hologram of Leia Organa, the rebel senator, being projected from the face of little itty-bitty R2. The image is a rainbow of colors as it flickers and jiggles in the dimly lit garage. Luke's mouth hangs open in awe.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
What's this?
R2 looks around and sheepishly beeps an answer. Beep, 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 for 3PO to translate. Leo continues to repeat the sentence fragment over and over.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
What is what? He asked you in a question. What is that?
R2 whistles his surprise as he pretends to just notice the hologram. Oh, he looks around and sheepishly beeps an answer. Beep, 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 for 3PO to translate. Leia continues to repeat the sentence fragment over and over.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope. Oh, he says it's nothing, sir. Merely a malfunction. Old data. Pay it no mind.
Luke becomes intrigued by the beautiful girl.
It was also his sister.
Hey, hey, hey.
It's a
Who
small,
is
small
she?
galaxy.
She's beautiful.
I know. I'm afraid I'm not quite sure, sir. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I think she was a passenger on our last voyage. A person of some importance, sir, I believe. Our captain was attached to...
Is there more to this recording?
Luke reaches for R2, but he lets out several frantic squeaks and a whistle. Beep, 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 beep.
Behave yourself, R2. You're going to get us into trouble. It's all right. You can trust him. He's our new master.
R2 whistles and beeps a long message to 3PO, which I will beep, 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 beep. Beep 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 beep.
He says it's the property of Obi-Wan Kenobi, a resident of these parts, and it's a private message for him. Quite frankly, sir, I don't know what he's talking about. Our last master was Captain Antilles. But what with what we've been through, this little R2 has become a bit eccentric.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. I wonder if he means old Ben Kenobi.
Dun dun dun.
Stay tuned for the next episode of No. I beg your pardon, sir, but do you know what he's talking about?
Well, I don't know anyone named Obi-Wan, but old Ben lives out beyond the Dune Sea. He's kind of a strange old hermit.
Luke gazes at the beautiful young princess for a few moments.
I wonder who she is. It sounds like she's in trouble. I better play back the whole thing.
R2 beeps something to 3PO. Beep 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 beep.
He says the restraining bolt has short-circuited his recording system. He suggested if you remove the bolt, he might be able to play back the entire recording.
Luke looks longingly at the lovely little bitty princess and hasn't really heard a damn thing that 3PO has been saying.
Oh yeah, well, I guess you're too small to run away on me if I take this off. Okay, because I'm really dumb.
and
Yes.
clumsy and blonde and stuff. Luke takes a wedged bar and pops the restraining bolt off R2's side.
There you go.
The princess immediately disappears.
Oh, wait a minute. Where'd she go? Bring her back. Play back the entire message.
R2 beeps an innocent reply as 3PO sits up in embarrassment. It sounds like beep 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 beep.
Sounds like Chopper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What message? The one you're carrying inside your rusty innards.
A woman's voice calls out from another room.
Luke, Luke, come to dinner.
Luke stands up and shakes his head at the malfunctioning robot.
All right, I'll be right there, Aunt Beru.
I'm sorry, sir, but he appears to have picked up a slight flutter.
Luke tosses R2's restraining bolt on the workbench like a dumbass and hurries out of the room.
See what you can do with him. I'll be right back.
Just you reconsider playing that message for him.
R2 beeps in response. Beep 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 beep.
No, I don't think he likes you at all.
Beep.
No, I don't like you either.
Scene changes to the interior of the Lars homestead in the dining area. Luke's Aunt Beru, a warm, motherly woman, fills a pitcher with blue fluid from a refrigerated container in the well-used kitchen. She puts the pitcher on a tray with some bowls of food and starts for the dining area. Luke sits with his Uncle Owen before a table covered with steaming bowls of food as Aunt Beru carries in a bowl of red grain.
You know, I think the R2 unit we bought might have been stolen because we got it from Jawas.
Right?
What makes you say that?
Well, I stumbled across this recording while I was cleaning him. He says he belongs to someone called Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Owen is greatly alarmed at the mention of his name, but manages to control himself.
I thought he might have meant Old Ben. Do you know what he's talking about? Well, I wonder if he's related to Ben.
Owen breaks loose with a fit of uncontrolled anger.
That old man's just a crazy old wizard. Tomorrow I want you to take that R2 unit to Anchorhead and have its memory flushed. That'll be the end of it. It belongs to us now.
What if Obi-Wan comes looking for him?
You won't. I don't think he exists anymore. He died about the same time as your father.
He knew my father?
Told you we did it. The only concern is to prepare the new droids for tomorrow. In the morning, I want them on the South Ridge working those condensers.
Yes, sir. I think those new droids are going to work out fine. In fact, I was thinking about our agreement about me staying on for another season, and if the new droids work out, I want to translate my application to the Academy this year.
Owen's face becomes a scowl, although he tries to suppress it.
You mean the next semester before Harvest?
Sure, there's more than enough droids.
Harvest is when I need you the most. Only one more season this year will make enough on the Harvest, and so I'll be able to hire more hands, and you can go to the Academy next year.
Luke continues to toy with his food like a spoiled little brat, not looking at his uncle.
You must understand I need you here, Luke.
But it's a whole nother year.
Look, it's only one more season.
Luke pushes his half-eaten plate of food aside and stands like a petulant little 2-year-old.
Yeah, that's what you said last year when Big's tank left.
Where are you going?
It's like I'm going nowhere. Have to finish cleaning those droids.
Resigned to his fate, Luke paddles out of the room like a spoiled little brat. Owen mechanically finishes his dinner.
Owen, he can't stay here forever. Most of his friends have gone. It means so much to him.
I'll make it up to him next year. I promise.
Luke's just not a farmer, Owen. He has too much of his father in him.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. The scene shifts to the exterior. Tatooine at the Lars homestead. The giant twin suns of Tatooine slowly disappear behind a distant dune range. Luke stands watching them for a few moments, then reluctantly enters the domed entrance to the homestead.
Oh.
Scene shifts to the interior There is no water
Okay.
on Tatooine.
Wrong
No, the
wrong
water's
planet.
gone.
Oh wait, did I do the wrong one?
Yes.
Yeah, water.
Oh wait,
planet.
wait. Hold on.
Oh,
The
boy.
complete.
Is that it?
There
No,
you
I
go.
lost.
All right.
Oh.
Just pretend I did that.
Ooh.
Okay.
Let's admire the magnificence for a moment and continue on. Scene shifts to the entrance to the garage, where Luke enters the garage to discover the robots nowhere in sight. He takes a small control box from his utility belt of wonders, similar to the one the Jawas were carrying. He activates the box, which creates a low hum, and 3PO, letting out a short yell, pops up from behind the Skyhopper spaceship.
What are you doing hiding there?
Dun dun dun! 3PO stumbles forward, but R2 is still nowhere in sight.
It wasn't my fault, sir. Please don't deactivate me. I told him not to go. But he's faulty, malfunctioning, kept babbling on about his mission.
Oh, no.
Ermager. Luke races out of the garage, followed by 3PO. The scene shifts to the exterior of the Lars homestead, where Luke rushes out of the small domed entry to the homestead and searches the darkening horizon for the small triped astrobot. 3PO struggles out of the homestead and on the salt flat as Luke scans the landscape with his electro binoculars.
That R2 unit has always been a problem. These astro droids are getting quite out of hand. Even I can't understand the logic at times.
He's so stupid. He's nowhere in sight. Blast it.
Pardon me, sir. But couldn't we go after him?
It's too dangerous with all the sand people around. We'll have to wait until morning.
Owen yells up from the homestead plaza.
Luke, I'm shutting the power down for the night.
Alright, I'll be there in a few minutes. Boy, I'm gonna get it.
He takes one final look across the dim horizon.
You know that little droid is gonna cause me a lot of trouble.
Oh, he excels at that, sir.
Scene shifts to the Lars homestead in the plaza. Morning slowly creeps into the sparse but sparkling oasis of the open courtyard. The idyllic scene is broken by the yelling of Uncle Owen, his voice echoing throughout the homestead.
Luke. 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 Where could he be loafing off now?
Loafing
In the
off.
kitchen,
Never heard the term
the
loafing.
non-echo of that rendition greets Aunt Beru as she prepares the morning breakfast. Owen enters in a huff.
Have you seen Luke this morning?
He said he had some things to do before he started today, so he left early.
You take those new droids with him?
I think so.
Well, better have those units on the South Ridge repaired by midday or they'll be held up.
Like, you've no idea.
Still trying to sound gruff. Owen goes about his business. Scene shift to the desert wasteland as Luke's speeder speeds across the scene. The rock and sand of the desert floor are a blur as 3PO pilots the sleek land speeder gracefully across the vast wasteland.
Huh? Oh, I see it.
I think I'm good on the sound effects. I can handle them, thank you. Luke leans back of the speeder and adjusts something in the motor compartment.
Luke.
How's that? Sorry.
3PO signals that it is fine, and Luke turns back into the Windward cockpit and pops the canopy shut.
Old Ben Kenobi lives out in this direction somewhere, but I don't see how the R2 unit could have come this far. We must have missed him. Uncle Owen isn't going to take this very well.
Sir, would it help if you told him it was my fault?
Sure, he needs you. He probably only deactivate you for the day only, so.
Deactivate? Well, on the other hand, if you hadn't removed his restraining bolt...
Wait, there's something dead ahead on the scanner. It looks like our droid. Hit the accelerator.
The scene shifts to the exterior of Tatooine, on a rock mesa, in the Dune Sea, on the coastline of a desert. From high on a rock mesa, the tiny land speeder can be seen gliding across the desert floor. Suddenly in the foreground, two weather-beaten sand people shrouded in their grimy desert cloaks peer over the edge of the rock mesa. One of the marginally human creatures raises a long, ominous laser rifle and points it at the speeder, but the second creature grabs the gun before it can be fired. The Sand People, or Tusken Raiders as they're sometimes called, speak in a coarse barbaric language as they get into an animated argument. You can't hear it. The second Tusken Raider seems to get in a final word and the nomads scurry over the rocky terrain. Scene shifts to the rocky mesa in a canyon. The Tusken Raider approaches two large banthas standing tied to a rock. The monstrous bear-like creatures are as large as elephants, with huge red eyes, tremendous looped horns, and long, furry dinosaur-like tails. The Tusken Raiders mount saddles strapped to the huge creatures' shaggy backs and ride off down the rugged bluff. Scene shifts to the rock canyon floor. The speeder is parked on the floor of a massive canyon. Luke, with his long laser rifle slung over his shoulder, ineffectively, he stands before a little R2.
Hey, whoa! Where do you think you're going?
The little droid whistles a feeble reply as 3PO poses menacingly behind the little runaway.
Oh, right. I said runway. Master Luke here is your rightful owner. We'll have no more of this Obi-Wan Kenobi gibberish, and don't talk to me about your mission. Either you're fortunate he doesn't blast you into a million pieces right here.
Well, come on. It's getting late. I hope we can get back before Uncle Owen really blows up.
If you don't mind me saying so, sir, I think you should deactivate the little fugitive until you've gotten him back to your workshop.
Nah, he's not going anywhere. I'm sorry, they're going to try anything.
Suddenly, the little robot jumps to life with a mass of frantic whistles and screams that I will not try to replicate.
What's wrong with him now?
Oh my, sir. He says there are several creatures approaching from the southeast.
Luke swings his rifle into position like he should have had it originally and looks to the south.
Sand people! Or worse. Come on, let's have a look. Come on.
Scene shifts to the exterior, Tatooine, Rock Canyon, and the Ridge during the day. Luke carefully makes his way to the top of a rock ridge and scans the canyon with his electro binoculars. He spots the two riderless banthas. 3PO struggles up behind the young adventurer.
There are two banthas down there, but I don't see any... Wait a second. They're sand people, alright. I can see one of them now.
Luke watches the distant Tusken Raider through his electro binoculars. Suddenly, something huge moves in front of his field of view. Before Luke or 3PO can react, a large, gruesome Tusken Raider looms over them. 3PO is startled and backs away right off the side of the cliff. He can be heard for several moments as he clangs, bangs, and rattles down the side of the mountain. Oh, yeah. The towering creature bangs down his curved, double-pointed gator. What the? Gator fee? The dreaded axe blade that has struck terror in the heart of the local settlers. But Luke manages to block the blow with his laser rifle, which is smashed to pieces. The terrified farm boy scrambles backward until he is forced to the edge of a deep crevice. The sinister raider stands over him with his weapon raised and lets out a horrible, shrieking laugh. Ha, ha, ha. The scene shifts to the canyon floor during the day. Some time has passed. R2 forces himself into the shadows of a small alcove in the rocks as the vicious sand people walk past, carrying the inert and unconscious Luke Skywalker, who is dropped in a heap before the speeder. The sand people ransack the speeder, throwing parts and supplies in all directions. Suddenly, they stop. Then everything is quiet for a few moments. A great howling moan is heard echoing throughout the canyon, which sends the sand people fleeing in terror. What was that again? No? Again?
Perfect.
Again?
Oh
I need it one more
God.
time at least.
I need it one more time. Come on. You're doing so great. Come on.
Hold on,
One
hold
more?
on. Everybody quiet. I need it for my ringtone. Do it again.
No. No.
Somebody clip it.
We got
This
it. I
in
got it.
Twitch.
You good? You get it out of your system?
Okay.
I don't want to cut you short, you know. Get it out of your system.
All right. Where do we leave off?
This is an Obi-Wan line, so
Where do we leave off?
Let me find where I was. I kind of got distracted by the distraction. Here we are. R2 moves even tighter into the shadows as the slight swishing sound that frightened off the sand people grows even closer until a shabby old desert rat of a man appears and leans over Luke. His ancient leathery face, cracked and weathered by exotic climates, is set off by dark, penetrating eyes and a scraggly white beard. Ben Kenobi squints his eyes as he scrutinizes the unconscious farm boy. R2 makes a slight sound and Ben turns to look right at him.
hello there.
Good.
Come here, my little friend. Don't be afraid.
R2 waddles over to where Luke lies crumpled in a heap and begins to whistle and beep his concern. Beep, beep. Beep, beep. Ben puts his hand on Luke's forehead and he begins to come around.
Oh, don't worry, he'll be alright.
What happened?
Rest easy, son. You've had a busy day. You're fortunate to still be in one piece.
Ben? Ben Kenobi? Boy, am I glad to see you.
The Judland wastes are not to be traveled lightly. Tell me, young Luke, what brings you out this far?
Oh, this little droid. I think he's searching for his former master. I've never seen such devotion in a droid before. There seems to be no stopping him. He claims to be the property of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Is he a relative of yours? Do you know who he's talking about?
Ben ponders this for a moment, scratching his scruffy nerf herder beard.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan. Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time. Long time.
I think my uncle knew him. He said he was dead.
Oh, he's not dead. Well, not yet.
You know him.
Of course I know him. He's me. I haven't gone by the name Obi-Wan since, before you were born.
That's a lie. then the droid belongs to you.
I don't seem to remember ever owning a droid. Very interesting.
He suddenly looks up at the overhanging cliffs.
We better get indoors. The Sand people are easily startled, but they will soon be back, and in greater numbers.
Luke sits up and rubs his head. R2 lets out a pathetic beep. Beep. What was that? Did I hear beep? Or was that my beep?
That's your beat.
Those should
Okay.
be-
3PO.
Scene shift to the Rock Mesa day. Little R2 stands at the edge of a large sand pit and begins to chatter away in electronic whistles and beeps which will not be replicated. Luke and Ben stand over a very dented and tangled 3PO lying half buried in the sand. One of his arms is broken off. Luke tries to revive the inert robot by shaking him and then flips a hidden switch on his back several times until finally the mechanical man systems turn on.
Where am I? I must have taken a bad step.
Can you stand? We've got to get out of here before the sand people return.
I don't think I can make it. You go on, Master Luke. There's no sense in you risking yourself on my account. I'm done for.
R2 makes a beeping sound that will not be replicated.
No, you're not. What kind of talk is that?
Luke and Ben help the battered droid to his feet. Little R2 watches from the top of the pit. Ben glances around suspiciously. Sensing something, he stands up and sniffs the air.
Quickly, son. They're on the move.
Scene shifts to the interior of Kenobi's dwelling. Dun dun dun. A small Spartan hovel is cluttered with desert junk, but still manages to radiate an air of time-worn comfort and security. Luke is in one corner repairing 3PO's arm as old Ben sits thinking.
No, my father didn't fight in the wars. He's a navigator on a spice freighter.
Your uncle told you your father was a drug dealer? Oh, that's what your uncle told you. You didn't hold your father's ideals. Thought you should have stayed here and not gotten involved.
It was a cumin spice freighter, you jerk.
Human.
You fought in the Clone Wars?
Yes, I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father.
I wish I'd known him.
He was the best star pilot in the galaxy, and a cunning warrior. I've understood you become quite a good pilot yourself. And he was a great friend. Which reminds me.
Old crotchety Ben gets up from his very comfortable armchair and goes to a chest where he rummages around as Luke finishes repairing 3PO and starts to fit the restraining bolt back on. 3PO looks at him nervously. Luke thinks about the bolt for a moment, then puts it on the table. Ben shuffles up and presents Luke with a short handle with several electronic gadgets attached to it. It's a sonic screwdriver!
Yeah.
I have something for you. Your father wanted you to have this when you were old enough, but your uncle wouldn't allow it. He feared you might follow old Obi-Wan on some damned fool idealistic crusade like your father did.
Sir, if you'll not be needing me, I'll close down for a while.
Sure, go ahead.
Ben hands Luke the saber.
What is it?
Your father's lightsaber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight, not as clumsy or as random as a blaster.
Luke pushes a button on the handle, making sure not to point it at his face. A long beam shoots out about 4 feet and flickers there. The light plays across the ceiling.
An elegant weapon for a more civilized age. For over 1,000 generations, the Jedi Knights were the guardians of peace and justice in the Old Republic, before the Dark Times, before the Empire.
Luke really hasn't been paying attention.
How did my father die? Was there a barbecue?
Roasted some marshmallows.
Well, there was a young Jedi named Darth Vader, who was my pupil of mine until he turned evil. Helped the Empire hunt down and destroy the Jedi Knights. He betrayed and murdered your father. And now the Jedi are all but extinct. Oh, Vader, seduced by the dark side of the Force.
You have an interesting point of view. The Force?
I know, right? Well, the Force. It's what gives a Jedi its power. It's an energy field created by all living things, all the midichlorians. It surrounds us and penetrates us and binds the galaxy.
R2 makes beeping sounds that will not be replicated.
Now let's see what we can't figure out what you are, my little friend, and where you come from.
I saw part of the message. He was...
Luke is cut short as the recorded image of the beautiful young rebel princess is projected from R2's face.
I seem to have found it.
Luke stops his work as the lovely girl's image flickers before his eyes.
General Kenobi, years ago you served my father in the Clone Wars. Now he begs you to help him in his struggle against the Empire. I regret that I am unable to present my father's request to you in person, but my ship has fallen under attack, and I'm afraid my mission to bring you to Alderaan has failed. I have placed information vital to the survival of the rebellion into the memory systems of this R2 unit. My father will know how to retrieve it. You must see this droid safely delivered to him on Alderaan. This is our most desperate hour. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
There is a little static and a lot of goosebumps, and the transmission is cut short. Old Ben leans back and scratches his head. He silently puffs out a tarnished chrome water pipe. Yeah, bongs! Luke has stars in his eyes from the beautiful princess.
You must learn the ways of the Force if you were to come with me to Alderaan.
Alderaan, I'm not going to Alderaan. I've got to get home. It's late. I'm in it for as it is.
I need your help, Luke. She needs your help. I'm getting too old for this sort of thing.
I can't get involved. I've got work to do. It's not like the Empire. I hate it, but there's nothing I can do about it right now. It's such a long way from here.
That's your uncle talking.
Oh God, my uncle, how I was ever going to explain this.
Learn about the Force, Luke.
Look, I can take you as far as Anchorhead. You can get a transfer there to Mos Eisley and wherever you're going.
You must do what you feel is right, of course.
Scene shifts to space. Not quite the final frontier. An Imperial Star Destroyer heads toward the evil planet-like battle station, the Death Star. Scene shifts to a conference room in the Death Star, where 8 Imperial senators and generals sit around a black conference table. Imperial stormtroopers stand guard around the room. Commander Taggy, a young, slimy-looking general, is speaking.
Any takers?
Who's Taggy?
Who's the
I'll do-
slimiest? Oh, that Walker,
I'll do-
go ahead.
I'll do tagging.
Okay.
Until this battle station is fully operational, we are vulnerable. The Rebel Alliance is well equipped. They're more dangerous than you realize.
The bitteral Admiral Mahdi twists nervously in his chair. Dangerous to your Starfleet, Commander, not to this battle station.
The rebellion will continue to gain support in the Imperial Senate long as...
Suddenly, all heads turn as Commander Tagg's speech is cut short, and the Grand Moff Tarkin, Governor of the Imperial Outland Regions, enters. He is followed by his powerful ally, the Sith Lord, Darth Vader. All the generals stand and bow before the thin, evil-looking governor as he takes his place at the head of the table. The Dark Lord stands behind him.
The Imperial Senate will no longer be of any concern to us. I've just received word that the Emperor has dissolved the Council permanently. The last remnants of the old Republic have been swept away.
That's impossible. How will the Emperor maintain control without the bureaucracy?
The regional governors will now have direct control over the territories. Fear will keep the local systems in line. Fear of this battle station.
And what of the rebellion? If the rebels have obtained a complete technical readout of this station, it is impossible, however unlikely, that they might find a weakness and exploit it.
The plans you refer to will soon be back in our hands. Any attack made by the rebels against this station would be a useless gesture, no matter what technical data they've obtained. This station is now the ultimate power in the universe! Dun dun dun. I suggest we use it. Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed. The ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force. Don't try to frighten us with your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader. Your sad devotion to that ancient religion has not helped you conjure up the stolen data tapes, or given you clairvoyance enough to find the rebels' hidden fort. Suddenly, Mahdi chokes. And starts to turn blue under Vader's spell. I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Enough of this. Vader, release him.
As you wish. Vader releases him reluctantly after he struggles a little bit more.
bickering is pointless. Lord Vader will provide us with the location of the rebel fortress by the time this station is operational. We will then crush the rebellion with one swift stroke.
The scene shifts yet again to Tatooine, where we see the wasteland before us. The speeder stops before what remains of the huge Jawa sandcrawler. Luke and Ben walk among the smoldering rubble and scattered bodies.
It looks like sand people did this all right. Look, here are gaffy sticks, bantha tracks. I've never heard of them hitting anything this big before.
Ben is crouching like a feeble old man in the sand, studying the tracks.
They didn't, but we are meant to think they did. These tracks are side by side. Sand people always ride single file to hide their numbers.
The same Jawas that sold R2 and 3PO.
And these blast points are too accurate for sand people, except that time they shot pod racers. But anyway, only Imperial stormtroopers are so precise.
Which is bold, but anyway.
Why would Imperial troopers want to slaughter Jawas? They're cute and adorable.
Mhm.
And fuzzy and furry and smell bad.
It's
Luke looks back at the speeder where R2 and 3PO are inspecting the dead Jawas, and he puts two and two together in that small, feeble little 3 brain cell brain of his.
They trace the robots here. They may have learned who they sold them to, and that would lead them to home.
Wait,
Luke reaches a horrible realization, then races for the speeder and jumps in.
Luke, wait! It's too dangerous!
Luke races off like a maniac, leaving Ben and the 2 robots alone with a burning sandcrawler. We then see Luke racing across the wasteland in his battered land speeder. We then see Luke pull up outside the burning homestead. Luke jumps out and runs to the smoking holes that were once his home. Debris is scattered everywhere, and it looks as if a great battle has taken place. Uncle Owen! Aunt Beru! Uncle Owen! Luke stumbles around in a daze looking for his aunt and uncle. Suddenly he comes upon their smoldering remains. He is stunned and cannot speak. Hate replaces fear, and a new resolve comes over him. Dun dun dun. The scene shifts to space, where an Imperial TIE fighter races towards the Death Star. The scene then shifts to the detention corridor, where we see 2 stormtroopers open an electronic cell door and allow several Imperial guards to enter. The beautiful Princess Leia. Her face is filled with defiance, which slowly gives way to fear as a giant black torture robot appears, followed by Darth Vader. And now, Your Highness, we will discuss the location of your hidden rebel base. The torture robot gives off a steady beeping sound that will not be replicated as it approaches Princess Leia and extends one of its mechanical arms bearing a large hypodermic needle. The door slides shut and the long cell block hallway appears peaceful. The muffled screams of the rebel princess are barely heard. The scene then shifts to the wasteland on Tatooine. There's a large bonfire of Jawa bodies blazing in front of the sandcrawler as Ben and the robots finish burning the dead. Luke drives up and mopes as Ben walks over to him.
There's nothing you could have done had you been there, Luke. You'd have been killed too, and the droids would be in the hands of the Empire.
I want to come with you to Alderaan. There's nothing for me here now. Want to learn the ways of the Force and become a Jedi like my father.
Dun dun dun. Ominous music doesn't play as we see the wasteland with the land speeder filled with Luke, R2, 3PO, and Ben zooming across the desert. The speeder stops on a bluff overlooking the spaceport at Mos Eisley. It is a haphazard array of low-grade concrete structures and semi-domes. A harsh gale blows across the stark canyon floor. Luke adjusts his goggles and walks to the edge of the craggy bluff where Ben is standing.
Us, Eisley Spaceport. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious.
Ben looks over at Luke, who gives the old Jedi a determined smile. The scene shifts to Mos Eisley in the street. The speeder is stopped on a crowded street by several combat-hardened stormtroopers, who look over the two robots. A trooper questions Luke.
Oh. How long have you had these droids?
About 3 or 4 seasons.
They're for sale if you want them.
Let me see your identification.
Luke becomes very nervous as he fumbles to find his ID while Ben speaks to the trooper in a very controlled voice.
You don't need to see his identification.
We don't need to see his identification.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These are not the droids we're looking for.
He can go about his business.
You can go about your business.
Move along.
Move along. Move along.
The scene. Another street in Mos Eisley Spaceport. The speeder pulls up in front of a rundown blockhouse cantina on the outskirts of the spaceport. Various strange forms of transport, including several unusual beasts of burden, are parked outside the bar. A Jawa runs up and begins to fondle the speeder inappropriately.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I can't abide these Jawas. Disgusting creatures.
As Luke gets out of the speeder, he tries incompetently to shoo the Jawa away.
Go on. I can't understand how we got away from those troopers. I thought we were dead.
The Force can have a strong influence on the weak-minded. You will find it a powerful ally.
Do you really think we're going to find a pilot here that'll take us to Alderaan?
Well, most of the best freighter pilots can be found here. Only watch your step. This place can be a little rough.
I'm ready for anything.
Come along, Matthew.
Beep, beep. Inside the cantina, the young adventurer and his 2 mechanical servants follow Ben Kenobi into the smoke-filled cantina. The murky, moldy den is filled with a startling array of weird and exotic alien creatures and monsters at the long metallic bar. At first, the sight is horrifying. One-eyed, thousand-eyed, slimy, furry, scaly, tentacled, and clawed creatures huddle over drinks. Pretty sure they weren't all the same creature, but Ben moves to an empty spot at the bar near a group of repulsive but human scum. A huge, rough-looking bartender stops Luke and the robots and says,
We don't serve their kind here.
Luke, still recovering from the shock of seeing so many outlandish creatures, doesn't quite catch the bartender's drift.
What? You're droids. They'll have to wait outside. We don't take their kind here.
Luke looks at old Ben, who is busy talking to one of the galactic pirates. He notices several of the gruesome creatures along the bar are giving him a very unfriendly glare. Luke pats 3PO on the shoulder.
Listen, why don't you wait out by the speeder? We don't want any trouble.
I heartily agree with you, sir.
3PO and his stubby partner go outside, and most of the creatures at the bar go back to their drinks. Ben is standing next to Chewbacca, an 8-foot-tall, savage-looking creature resembling a huge gray bush baby monkey. God. With fierce baboon-like fangs. His large blue eyes dominate a fur-covered face and soften his otherwise awesome appearance. Over his matted furry body, he wears 2 chrome bandoliers and little else. He is a 200-year-old Wookiee and a sight to behold. Ben speaks to the Wookiee, pointing to Luke several times during his conversation, and the huge creature suddenly lets out a horrifying laugh that sounds like, "Oh, oh, oh." Luke is more than a little bit disconcerted and pretends not to hear the conversation between Ben and the giant Wookiee. Luke is terrified but tries not to show it. He quietly sips his drink, looking over the crowd for a more sympathetic ear or whatever. Mostly, whatever. A large, multi-eyed creature gives Luke a rough shove. Nicola Dawagi Wool Dogger! The hideous freak is obviously drunk. Luke tries to ignore the creature and turns back to his drink. A short, grubby human with an even smaller rodent-like beast join the belligerent monstrosity.
He doesn't like you.
He doesn't like you.
I'm sorry.
I don't like you either.
The big creature is getting agitated and yells out some unintelligible gibberish that will not be repeated at the now rather nervous young adventurer.
Don't insult us. You just watch yourself. We're wanted men. I have the death sentence on 12 systems.
I'll be careful then.
You'll be dead.
The rodent lets out a loud grunt, and everything at the bar moves away. Luke tries to remain cool, but it isn't easy. His three adversaries ready their weapons. Old Ben moves in behind Luke.
This little isn't worth the effort. Come on, let me buy you something.
A powerful blow from the unpleasant creature sends the young would-be Jedi sailing across the room. That would be Luke, flying, flailing, crashing through tables, and breaking a large jug filled with a foul-looking liquid. With a blood-curdling shriek that will not be repeated, the monster draws a wicked chrome laser pistol from his belt and levels it at old Ben. The bartender panics and says,
No blasters! No blaster!
with astounding agility, old Ben's laser sword sparks to life. Shwoom. And in a flash, an arm lies on the floor. The rodent is cut in two, and the giant multiple-eyed creature lies doubled, cut from chin to groin. Ha ha ha!
Ooh, ouch.
Ben carefully and precisely turns off his laser sword, shwoom, and replaces it on his utility belt. Luke, shaking and totally amazed at the old man's abilities, attempts to stand. The entire fight has lasted only a matter of seconds. The cantina goes back to normal, although Ben is given a respectable amount of room at the bar, almost as if he smelled. Luke, rubbing his bruised head, approaches the old man with new awe. Ben points to the Wookiee.
This is Chewbacca. He's a first mate on a ship that might suit our needs.
The scene shows the street, where 3PO paces in front of the cantina as R2 carries on an electronic conversation that will not be repeated with another little red astromech droid. A creature comes out of the cantina and approaches two stormtroopers in the street.
Oh,
And
that's me.
3PO
Sorry.
says,
3PO's falling asleep. I don't like the look of this.
Scene shifts to the cantina, where strange creatures play an exotic big band music that won't be repeated on odd-looking instruments as Luke, still giddy, downs a fresh drink and follows Ben and Chewbacca to a booth where Han Solo, pirate extraordinaire, is sitting. Han is a tough, roguish star pilot about 30 years old. A mercenary on a starship, he is simple, sentimental, nah, and cocksure.
Han Solo. I'm the captain of the Millennium Falcon. Chewie here tells me you're looking for passage to the Alderaan system.
Yes, indeed. If it's a fast ship,
Fast ship? You never heard of the Millennium Falcon?
should I have?
It's the ship that made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. Less than 12 parsecs.
Ben reacts to Solo's stupid attempt to impress them with obvious misinformation.
I've outrun Imperial starships, not the local boat cruisers, mind you. I'm talking about the big Corellian ships. She's fast enough for you, old man. What's the cargo?
Only passengers, myself, the boy, 2 droids, and no questions asked.
What is it? Some kind of local trouble?
Let's just say we'd like to avoid any Imperial entanglements.
That's the trick, isn't it? And it's going to cost you something extra. 10,000 in advance.
10,000? We could almost buy our own ship for that.
But who's going to fly, kid? You?
You bet I could. I'm not such a bad pilot myself. We don't have to sit here and listen.
We haven't that much with us, but we could pay you 2,000 now, plus 15 when we reach Alderaan.
17?
Han ponders this for a few moments.
Okay, you got yourself a ship. We'll leave as soon as you're ready. Docking Bay 94.
94.
Looks like somebody's beginning to take an interest in your handiwork.
Ben and Luke turn around to see 4 Imperial Star Troopers looking at the dead bodies and asking the bartenders some questions. The bartender points to the booth. Alright, I'll check it out. The stormtroopers look over at the booth, but Luke and Ben are gone. The bartender shrugs his shoulders in puzzlement.
17,000? Those guys must be really desperate. This could really save my neck. Get back to the ship and get her ready.
The scene shifts to the street in Mos Eisley, where we see Ben and Luke.
You'll have to sell your speeder.
That's okay. I'm never coming back to this planet again.
Ha, 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 as he says ironically. Scene shifts to the cantina as Han is about to leave. Greedo, a slimy, green-faced alien with a short trunk nose and issues, pokes a gun in his side. The creature speaks in a foreign tongue translated into English subtitles.
Going... Oh, you want to take it?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Going somewhere solo?
Yes, Greedo. As a matter of fact, I was coming to see your boss. Tell Jabba I got his money?
Han sits down and the alien slime ball sits across from him holding the gun on him.
It's too late. You should have paid him when you had the chance. Jabba put a price on your head so large that every bounty hunter in the galaxy will be looking for you. I'm lucky I found you first.
Yeah, but this time I got the money.
If you give it to me, I might forget I found you.
I don't have it with me. Tell Jabba.
Jabba's through with you. He has no time for smugglers who drop their shipments at the first sign of an Imperial cruiser.
Even I get bored sometimes. Do you think I had a choice?
Han Solo slowly reaches for his gun under the table.
You can tell that to Jabba. He may only take your ship.
Over my dead body.
That's the idea. I've been looking forward to killing you for a long time.
Yes, I'll bet you have.
Suddenly, the slimy, scene-stealing alien disappears in a blinding flash of light. Han pulls his smoking gun from underneath the table as the other patrons look on in bemused amusement. Ha ha! Sucker! Han gets up and starts out of the cantina, flipping the bartender some coins as he leaves.
Sorry about the mess.
The scene shifts to the exterior of space. In all of its vastness, we see several TIE fighters approach the Death Star. Scene shifts to the control room of the Death Star as we see Lord Vader. Our resistance to the mind probe is considerable. It will be some time before we can extract any information from her. An Imperial officer interrupts the meeting at his own peril. Frankie, line.
Me?
Frankie.
Me? Okay.
Yours.
Line!
The
Line!
final checkout is complete. All systems are operational. What course shall we set?
Perhaps we shall respond to... Perhaps she would respond to an alternative form of persuasion.
What do you mean?
I think it's time we demonstrate the full power of this station. Set your course for Princess Leia's home planet of Alderaan.
With pleasure, sir. Back on Mos Eisley in the street, we see 4 heavily armed stormtroopers move menacingly along a narrow slum alleyway crowded with darkly clad creatures hawking exotic goods in dingy little stalls. Dude, that's Kuwait. In Afghanistan, that's awesome. Anyway, men, monsters, and robots crouch in the waste-filled doorways, whispering and hiding from the hot winds.
Lock the door, R2.
One of the troopers checks a tightly locked door and moves down the alleyway. The door slides open a crack and 3PO peeks out. R2 is barely visible in the background.
Alright, check that side of the street. It's secure. Move on to the next door.
The door opens. 3PO moves into the doorway.
I would much rather have gone with Master Luke than stay here with you. I don't know what all the trouble is about, but I'm sure it must be your fault.
R2 makes beeping noises that shall not be replicated.
You watch your language.
Scene shift to the alleyway near the used speeder lot. Should I do deleted scene spoiler tags?
Sure.
Spoiler tag. Deleted scene. Ben and Luke are standing in a sleazy used speeder lot, talking with a tall, grotesque, insect-like speeder dealer. Strange exotic bodies and spindly-legged beasts pass by as the insect concludes the sale by giving Luke some coins.
He says it's the best he can do. Since the XP-38 came out, they're just not in demand.
It'll be enough.
Ben and Luke leave the speeder lot and walk down the dusty alleyway past a small robot herding a bunch of anteater-like creatures. Luke turns and gives one last forlorn look at his faithful speeder as he rounds a corner. A darkly clad creature moves out from the shadows as they pass and watches them as they disappear down another alley.
The ship's as fast as he's boasting. We ought to do well.
The scene shifts to Docking Bay 94 during the day. Jabba the Hutt and a half-dozen grisly alien pirates and purple creatures stand in the middle of the docking bay. Jabba, voiced by the narrator, is the grossest of the slavering hulks, and his scarred face is a grim testimonial to his prowess as a vicious killer. He is a fat, slug-like creature with eyes on extended feelers and a huge, ugly mouth. "Come out, Solo!" A voice from directly behind the pirates startles them, and they turn around to see Han Solo and the giant Wookiee, Chewbacca, standing behind them with no weapons in sight.
I've been waiting for you, Jabba.
I expected you would be.
I'm not the type to run.
Banta Poodoo, ha ha ha. In a fatherly, smooth voice, Jabba continues, "On me, boy! There are times when you disappoint me. Why haven't you paid me, my boy? And why did you have to fry poor Greedo like that? I like that little slime ball. After all we've been through together."
You sent Greedo to blast me.
In mock surprise, Jabba continues, and why, you're the best smuggler in the business. You're too valuable to fry. He was only relaying my concern at your delays. He wasn't gonna blast you too much.
I think he thought he was. Next time, don't send one of those twerps. If you got something to say to me, come say it yourself. Come see me yourself.
Han. If only you hadn't had to dump that shipment of spice. You understand, I just can't make an exception. Where would I be if every pilot who smuggled for me dumped their shipment at the first sign of Imperial starship? It's not good business.
You know, even I get bored sometimes, Jabba. I had no choice. But I've got a charter now, and I can pay you back. Plus a little extra. I just need some more time.
Put your blasters away, boys and girls and lads. Han, my boy, I'm only doing this because you're the best, and I need you. So for an extra, say, 20%, I'll give you a little more time. This is it. You disappoint me again. It's Kaputski's. I'll put a price on your head so large, you won't be able to go near a civilized system for the rest of your short life.
I'll pay you because it's my pleasure.
Banta Pudu. In the alleyway of the docking port entry, we see Chewbacca as he waits restlessly at the entrance to Docking Bay 94. Ben, Luke, and the robots make their way up the street. Chewbacca jabbers excitedly and signals for them to hurry, hurry, hurry. The darkly clad creature has followed them from the speeder lot. He stops in a nearby doorway and speaks into a small transmitter. Next, we see Chewbacca leading the group into a giant dirt pit that is Docking Bay 94. Resting in the middle of the huge hole is a large, round, beat-up, pieced-together hunk of junk that could only be loosely called a starship.
What a piece of junk!
The tall figure of Han Solo comes down the boarding ramp.
She'll make 0.5 beyond the speed of light. She may not look it, but she's got it where it counts, kid. I've added a few special modifications myself.
Luke scratches his scrawny little head. It's obvious he isn't sure about the bowl. Chewbacca rushes up the ramp and urges the other to follow.
We're a little rushed, so if you'll hurry aboard, we'll get out of here.
The group rushes up the gangplank, passing a grinning Han Solo. On the interior of the Millennium Falcon, we see Chewbacca settling into the pilot's chair, and he starts the mighty engines of the starship. In Docking Bay 94, we see Luke, Ben, and 3PO and R2 move toward the Millennium Falcon, passing Solo.
Hello, sir.
In the street, we see 8 Imperial stormtroopers rush up to the darkly clad creature.
Which way?
And the trooper asks,
Which way?
Which way?
The dark-clad figure points to the door of the docking bay.
Is it supposed to be me? All right, men, load your weapons. You said nervously.
In a forceful manner, the stormtroopers hold their guns at the ready and charge down the docking bay entrance.
Stop that ship!
Han Solo looks up and sees the Imperial stormtroopers rushing into the docking bay. Several of the troopers fire at Han as he ducks into the spaceship.
Blast him!
Han draws his laser pistol and pops off a couple of shots. Pew, 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 which force the stormtroopers to dive for safety. The pirate ship engines whine as Han hits the release button that slams the overhead entry shut. Whoosh. No, hey! Get us out of here! The group straps in for takeoff.
Oh my, I'd forgotten how much I hate space travel.
In the streets of Mos Eisley, we see a half dozen stormtroopers at a checkpoint hear the general alarm that sounds like woohoo, woohoo, and look to the sky as the huge starship rises above the dingy slum dwelling and quickly disappears into the morning sky. In the cockpit, we see Han as he climbs into the pilot's chair next to Chewbacca, who chatters away as he points to something on the radar scope. We then see the planet Tatooine as the Corellian pirate ship zooms from Tatooine atmosphere into space. In the cockpit, we see Han frantically typing information into the ship's computer. Little bitty R2 appears momentarily at the cockpit doorway, makes a few beeping remarks that shall not be repeated, and then scurries away.
It looks like an Imperial cruiser. Our passengers must be hotter than I thought. Try to hold them off. Angle the deflector shield while I make the calculations to jump to light speed.
We see the Millennium Falcon as it races away from the yellow planet Tatooine. It is followed by 2 huge Imperial Star Destroyers. In the cockpit, over the shoulders of Chewie and Han, we see the galaxy spread before them. Lots of blinking lights. Luke and Ben make their way into the crammed cockpit where Han continues his calculations.
Stay sharp. There are 2 more coming in. They're going to try to cut us off.
Why don't you outrun them? I thought you said this thing was fast.
Watch your mouth, kid, or you're going to find yourself floating home. We'll be safe enough once we make the jump to light speed. Besides, I know a few maneuvers. We'll lose them.
Over the planet Tatooine, we see the Imperial cruisers fire at the pirate ship. In the cockpit, we see the ship shudder as an explosion flashes outside the window.
Here's where the fun begins.
God, that's
How
where
long
I
before
got that
you
from.
jump to light speed?
It'll take a few moments to get the coordinates from the nav computer.
The ship begins to rock violently as lasers hit it.
Are you kidding? At the rate they're gaining?
Traveling to light speed isn't like dusting crops, boy. Without precise calculations, we can fly right through a star or bounce too close to a supernova, and that'd end your trip real quick, wouldn't it, Poe?
The ship is now constantly battered with laser fire as a red warning light begins to flash.
What's that flashing?
Smacks the hand.
Han.
And Luke says,
No, I thought. Did you say what's the
No,
flash?
you
I said it
already.
already.
Oh, I didn't hear it. Okay.
And then I hit my hand.
We're losing our deflector shield. Go strap yourself in. I'm going to make the jump to light speed.
the galaxy brightens as they move faster, almost as if crashing a barrier. Stars become streaks as the pirate ship makes the jump to hyperspace. In space, where no one can hear you scream, the Millennium Falcon zooms to infinity and beyond in less than a second. Now we see the Death Star as Alderaan looms behind the Death Star battle station, and we come up to where we started the
Yes.
last episode.
We have arrived.
We have come full circle.
Yay.
I was but the learner, now I am the master.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Woo!
Yay. That was fun.
Can I go back to my Oreos now?
Yes, go back to your freaking Oreos.
They weren't stopping you.
I never left them.
I hit my hand a little too hard. It hurts.
See, that's what you get.
You know, I
That's
just got
called
so in character that, I just kind of lost myself.
OMG, you're like so method.
Yeah,
Say do Valley Girl Leia.
Like,
Oh, God.
Bird.
Oh.
Like, totally, oh my god, gang me with a laser sword.
I want to do Shakespearean Star Wars. I think that would be fun.
Oh god.
We do
What light
Empire
through
Shakespeare.
yonder viewport breaks?
I have
or Revenge of the Sith Shakespeare.
yeah, I have episode 1 somewhere. I read through it. It was really good.
Is this a dagger I say before me?
On my bookie.
On my bookie. Bantha Poodoo is all I could really think of at the time. I didn't really watch a lot of the special editions.
Mhm.
So, Frankie, is this concluding our scene rendition for this portion?
Yes. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say for episode 4, this was good.
Yeah.
So,
No idea when the next one will be, but
well, yeah, because we got stuff coming up soon. What do we got? What's is it Bad Batch or casting at the end of the month?
casting
things.
of the month. But we got a lot of things. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
We'll see, but we'll.
Busy times.
All right, but yeah, that was good. We got a lot.
Yeah.
We also have Nar Shaddaa for the rest of the month of August.
Yeah, I'm so excited. It's coming. We're gonna go clubbing at Nar Shaddaa, do a little gambling, get some fancy outfits.
Hope everyone enjoyed.
Yep. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching the second portion of this. We appreciate it. If you're watching it back, thanks for watching, and we will be back sometime soon. So, hope everybody has a great rest of the night, and we'll catch you all in the next stream. Bye, everyone.